Hello everyone, so today we are going to do Leetcode daily challenge short array by Parity. So basically in this question we are given with an array in which all the numbers could be either an even basically mixed form of numbers are there even and odd, and we are required to sort them by parity. That is, here we are first required to move all the even integer at the beginning, followed by all the odd integers. So this is the thing which we would be required to do here. Now comes the next part, that how we would be doing that. So for doing that, there would be several methods in which we would be simply sorting it and doing it directly by checking that if that particular number is divisible by 2 or not in that way. But today I would be first letting you know about the approach which involves order of n space, in which the thing is that we would be easily able to store all the elements which are odd in separate array and the all elements which are even in separate arrays. And at the end, what we would be doing, we'll put all the even elements first in the answer array, and after that we will be pushing all the odd elements of the odd array into the answer array. So like this we would be able to solve when we are going to do by using extra order of n space. But the thing is, while being asked in interviews, there could be situation that if can we do this question without using order of n extra space. So yeah, we can do this question because it is a sorting question, and we could think of any of the sorting algorithm which could do this easily. So yeah, for that sense we can check for the quick sort. So here what we can do is, by using the quick sort, we can simply, because the thing is we are required to sort the array by parity, right? So in that sense we are required to check that if our nums of I percentage 2 equals to 0, right? That is, it is completely divisible by 2, then in that sense it would be an even number, right? So this condition we are required to check, and other condition would be this one. So this simply reflects that it is even and that this is odd. So we are required to use these two conditions. But while in the case of using quick sort, how we are required to do it, we would be simply checking because we are required to have all the even elements on the left side, right? Means left side would be having all the even elements and the right side would be having the odd elements, right? So how we would be checking would be, we'll check that while, means we would be using two pointers, while left less than right, right? This is the condition we are required to put so that we could exit out for our answer, and that answer would be when our array would be completely sorted. So now the thing is that while left less than right, so in this condition how we would be doing this, like if we'll check for this particular condition first, right? And then we'll check that if this particular condition is true, right? And moreover, we also need to keep a check over other two conditions also. So now the thing is, we'll simply do, we keeping this thing in mind, and then we'll simply do this particular thing, that while left is less than right, and we also check that if this particular condition is true, right? If this is true, that is, we are easily able to check that our left side is already even, right? Then we will simply do left plus plus in this particular scenario, means we'll increment our left pointer. Else we'll check for this condition again, and then we would be checking for this condition. If this is a scenario that our right pointer which is being there, here rather than nums of I, we would be having nums of right. We would be checking that element, and here nums of left would be there. That would be the thing. And in that sense, we would be simply doing right minus minus in that scenario. So like this, we would be checking for left one and the right one. And then if there is a condition, if both of these conditions are not satisfied, right, means both of these while loops are exited, then in that condition, we are required to simply swap the element. Means we are required to swap our whatsoever was there in nums of left, comma, nums of right. We are required to swap them, and when we would be swapping them, then we would be easily able to arrange them in the form we are required. So from this blurs thing, let me walk you through that what exactly are the requirements. So this was the first approach. Means this order of n and space complexity and time complexity this. But for the second approach, that is the quick short one, there are four conditions which were being there. Then we were doing that particular question. Means that blur idea sort of which we were doing. So the thing is that if there is something like this, right? So our left would be here and our right would be here, right? So what is the condition here? This 0, 1 simply represent that percentage by 2, means modulo by 2, right? So when we do modulo by 2, what we do? We'll have 1 would be here and 0 would be here, right? So it comes to this particular condition where we are required to swap. So we would be simply swapping it. And while we would be swapping, then it simply becomes 2, 4, 1 and 3, right? So now our left has been incremented here and right would be simply incremented here, right? So now condition becomes 0 and 1. So it is the fine condition only that it is already sorted and we'll simply increment. When we increment, then it will simply cross each other, that is right and this would be left, right? When it simply crosses each other, then that particular scenario will exit the loop, because at that particular moment it is already sorted. This would be the thing which would be done here. Now comes the part of the 0, 0 and 1, 1. So let me take another example. So when it's something like means it should be 0, 0 and 1, 1, right? So 2, 4, 1, 3, that is the scenario. So here the thing is that left side is already sorted, right? Left would be already sorted here, and right. Let me take some bigger array, like 4 is already. So 6 and 7 and 9. So if any condition is, if it reaches the particular condition like this, let me make it something else, like 8. If this is the condition that both of them are even, then in that case it would be simply 0 and 0, thus no swapping would be done, and here it will simply move towards the left. Means basically right would be at that position only, and it will the left one would be simply moving towards this. So that would be the scenario. And then when it reaches this position, means left is here and right is here, then it is required to be swapped, because it will reach this particular condition. So that's why swapping would be there. So these two conditions are also now covered. Now comes the next part. So if both of them are odd. When both of them are odd, means if left is also here and right is also here, then in this particular scenario, both of them would be having 1, 1. So the thing would be that right is already correct here, right? So, but at this particular moment, the thing would be that all of them are already sorted also. So here the thing would be left would be as it is and right would be simply moving towards the leftmost position. So right would simply move here and left would be at that particular position only. But at both of them would overlap at this particular position. So it will exit out the loop and this would be returned as our answer. So these are the four scenarios which are required to be covered here. Now comes the part that how we will code all of these. So for coding, So this is the first solution, which was using order of n extra space. So we have simply used this even and then odd and then answer vector. And now what we are doing is we are simply checking that if it is having modulo by 2 equal to 0, then we will simply push it to the even vector, else we will simply push it to the odd vector. And after having both of them, then what we are required to do is simply take all the elements which are being there in this even vector, and we are required to push that into our answer, and then it would be for the odd. So this is how, by using order of n extra space and order of n time complexity, we would be doing this solution. Now comes the part when we need to optimize it in terms of space. Then for that particular scenario, we'll simply use these two pointers, that is left equal to 0 and right equals to a dot size minus 1. We will be simply having this particular loop where left less than right. So we would be simply doing all this until these particular conditions, the way which I had explained, have reached, and then we would be swapping. If none of these conditions satisfied, then we are required to swap, and if it would be already sorted, then it will be surely exiting out from this loop, and at the end we are required to return this answer. That is, the array itself in place would be sorted, and we are required to return that particular answer. So this was all for this particular video. If you have any doubt, you could comment down for the same. Thank you.